Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and on screen today we have a puzzle all the way from China. This is by the constructor Qiu Yan Zhe. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it's been requested by email to us, and Mark has had a go at it and says it's a brilliant puzzle, so I'm looking forward to trying it. And apparently it's appeared on Logic Masters Germany. Now, I tried to find it just about 5 minutes ago, and I had no joy at all, so I can't tell you what the rating is. But the email we had say the puzzle has also had good feedback from such luminaries of the Sudoku scene as Christoph Seeliger and Fistomaphel. So if those guys are also saying this is a brilliant puzzle, then we don't have to doubt Mark's word today. Now, it's normal killer Sudoku, this one, so I'll remind you of the rules in a moment, but I just do want to give a quick shout out, quick mention to the fact that we are actually planning a Killer Sudoku app. It's not ready yet. It should be out sometime in October, we hope. We've already got lots of puzzles though, which have been sent to us by some of the world's very best setters. My wallet is making a noise at me, so I don't know why that is. I'm not sure. It's probably too empty. Yeah, so we're going to release that, or aim to release it, in October, and that means I have to get very busy with constructing some puzzles, testing a lot of puzzles, and making hints. But I have to say, I do not mind doing that. I love killer Sudokus, and some of the puzzles in this new app are so cool. I know you're going to love it. What are the rules of Killer Sudoku? Very easy. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply, and then in Killer Cages, you've got to make the digits add up to the number in the top left-hand corner of the cage without repeating a digit. So that means if we did try and put a 9 there, for example, this cell, which could be a 9 under the rules of ordinary Sudoku, cannot be a 9 because of Killer Sudoku rules, because the 9s are in the same box. No, same cage. So that's all there is. Do try the puzzle. As I say, it comes heartily recommended today, as usual, and the way to play is to click the link under the video. With that, I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm on new software again today, so let's see how we go. And in fact, look, this new software is amazing because the mouse fell on this cell, and this cell I can write in. So unlike some of the puzzles recently where it's taken me half an hour to write in anything, I can write 9 in there, because where does a 9 go in the central box? It can't go anywhere else. In fact, we could have got that from arithmetic as well, but obviously it's not possible to make up a 9 cage like that, even though the new software does allow me to do it. And the way to have got it mathematically would have been to sum the box. We know that the box will contain all of the digits from 1 to 9. They add up to 45. You can see these cages add up to 4 lots of 9, which is 36. So 45 minus 36 gives us the value of the central square, which is indeed a 9. There's got to be a 1 in an 8 cage in 3 cells, because it's got to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. There's an 11 cage there in 4 cells, so we know that's 1, 2, 3 and 5. That's the only way of doing that. Okay, so that's all the obvious cages. 27 does need to have a 9 in it, because 8, 7, 6 and 5 only add to 26, so that's quite interesting. So 9 must make an appearance in all of those cells. And the first thing that jumps out at me when I spot that is, can I use the fact that therefore there is no 9 in those positions in columns 6 and 7? And the way we know that, of course, is that how many 9s are there in columns 6 and 7 in the completed solution? Well, there'll be 1 in column 6 and 1 in column 7, so there'll be 2. And I know that in column 6 and 7 there's 1 9 in that box and 1 9 in that box, so that's 2 9s. So there can't be any more 9s in those cells. Similarly, in rows 3 and 4, there can't be any more 9s in those cells. But actually, I'm not sure that does tell me anything. There's got to be a 1. Yeah, there's got to be a 1 in a 13 cage, because 2, 3, 4 and 5 add to 14. So again, you can do something similar with the 1s there, look in column 8 and 9. There can't be any ones in those cells. But unfortunately, I don't think I can use that to my advantage. Okay, so now we're starting to struggle. When I say we, I mean I. Maybe we can use... If we look at the arrangement of the cages in this puzzle, in the majority, they fit into either two rows or two columns. So you can see, if we look at row 1 and 2, these cages sit entirely within those rows. So if we know that, we can use some geometry to restrict the values of the open cells in these two rows, because we know that one complete row of a Sudoku adds to 45, so two complete rows must add up to 90, and we've got 36 there, 43, 63, 71. So these four cells add up to 19, and that is absolutely useless. Okay, let's try it on these two columns instead. So here we've got 14, 41, 52, 70, also useless. Those have to add up to 20. Okay, so here we've got 32 and another 40, that's 72. So this time we've got 18 in the yellow squares. Again, you've guessed it, useless. Let's try the last two. Column 8 and 9. So here we've got 8, 35, 48, 61. That's better. That is better. So the four cells this time have to add up to 29. And that is, well, that would be very useful if these yellow cells were all in the same column, because then we would know they would have to be 5, 7, 8, and 9. But as they are not, it's a little bit less useful. We know this domino can't have a 9 in it, so the maximum value for those squares would be 7 and 8, which is 13. So these two have to be 14 at least. No, I can't. There may be a way of limiting these cells, but I'm not sure. I'm not spotting it. So I think what I'll do is I will highlight those cells and try and remember that they are, these blue cells add to 29. Oh, hang on. Have we got a Fistomaphel ring here? Sorry, I just noticed that there. I should have noticed that almost at the beginning, that there's no cages in this ring. So what's the Fistomaphel ring? I'm going to overwrite my blue highlighting now. The Fistomaphel ring is an amazing discovery, really, by the constructor Fistomaphel, which is that the purple digits, the 16 purple digits, are identical to the 16 cells in the red ring. Now, if you've never seen that before, it will come as something of a shock to you. It certainly did to me when I first became aware of it, and we've done a few videos now talking about the proof of that theory. Well, it's not a theory; it's an axiom. Yeah, I'll try and remember to put a card on the screen, so if you are interested, you can see why that's the case. But I don't think we can use it here because we don't even know what those four cells are. So we don't even know what the sum of the red cells is, let alone what the actual composition of the digits is. It might be useful at some point in the solve though, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Look at the way I can just clear the colouring there. Isn't that gorgeous? I hope you'll all get to try this new software soon. So, after my good start, I've ground to a bit of a halt. And the problem now is that having used sort of geometry, restrictions in cage totals, I'm running out of ideas a bit here. Maybe. So, the other day, in fact, I did a puzzle by Fistomaphel where I sort of butchered the solve a little bit by focusing on 2 rows and 2 columns. Well, actually, I think I focused on 4 rows and 4 columns in that puzzle because I could see there was quite a big difference between the totals. Now here we've got something similar maybe, because if we look at columns 6 and 7, I've got 2 pretty large cage totals there. If this 2 by 2 and this 2 by 2 each have to add up to 27, I know they add up to 54 in total, which means for the other cells they've got to add up to 36, and there are 10 cells, so they're averaging well under 4. Now that's interesting, because if we look at row 6 and 7, I've got very small digits in the extremities, which means that these digits should on average be high. 24, 66. Yeah, so they should be averaging about 6.6 from the perspective of the rows, but from the columns they should be averaging under 4, so 3.6 I think it was. I'm not actually sure. So that implies that this 2 by 2 here, it's under pressure. It's under pressure from 2 different directions. From the column is pushing it downwards, whereas the rows want it to get bigger. So it's a bit like a sort of, yeah, I don't know. It's certainly under tension. So let's think about this. So let's see how much tension it's under. So from the rows perspective, we've got 24 plus 9 is 33. The biggest digit I could put in there would be a 9. The biggest digits I could put in those squares would be 7, 8 and 9. So so this 2 by 2 has to be, at least equal to, what was it, 33, 42, 66. It's got to at least equal 24. Because if I make any of these digits here smaller, this has to get bigger. So this has to be at least 24, which is not a propitious total, I don't think. It's not ringing a bell with me anyway. Let's check the column. So from a column perspective, I need to make these small, don't I? Because if I make these as small as possible, we'd have 27, 54 and two lots of 6, so that's another 12, 66. Okay, well this is it. This is important. I get the same total. So from the column perspective, these cells have to be, well, no, let me just say it again from this perspective. From the row perspective, this has got to be at least equal to 24. From the column perspective, it must be 24 or less, I think. Because if I make any of these cells bigger, I've got to make these cells smaller to make up for it. So it's getting completely pulverized. It's being put in the car crusher and made into a square or a cube, depending on whether we think we're in 2 or 3 dimensions. But basically, this has to exactly equal 24, because it must be bigger than 24 or bigger from this side, 24 or lower from this side. So it equals 24, and that means, okay, so I don't think it means much at all for the purple squares actually, but it does help us, because it does mean these cells have to be absolute maximums, these have to be absolute minimums. So we do get at least some pencil marks, and we get this 9, of course. Oh, and in fact we get this 9 as well, because where does the 9 go in this triple? It can only go there. So we actually do a bit better. We get some 9s in the grid. This square here has got to be 5, 6 or 7. This square's got to be, oh sorry, not 5, 6 or 7, 6, 7 or 8. What am I doing? 6, 7 or 8 here. 7, 8 pair there. Okay, yeah, now if we look at this column and this row, this square can't be 1, 2 or 3 or 7, 8 or 9, so that must be 4, 5 or 6, and the same is true of this square, because again we've got 1, 2, 3 in the column, so these two squares are a bit limited. And we know that the purples add up to 24. We know this. Okay, so there is a bit of a restriction going on for this square, look. If this is 4, 5, these two cells have got to add up to 15 without using 9, so they'd have to be 7, 8. If this is 4, 6, they've got to add up to 14 without using 9, which is going to be 6, 8. If they add up to 11, they're 5 and 6. These have got to add up to 13, which means 5, 8 is also, and that can't be 5 because you can't put a 4 in here. So actually this is not brilliant. No, sorry, this is not brilliant, is it? So even though we've found this relationship, it's not really cracked the puzzle open for us. Okay. Yeah, let's think about that. 27 in 4 cells. If I can't use 3, because one of the ways of making 27 in 4 cells would be 9, 8, 7, 3, and that isn't possible anymore. So the only way left is going to be 9, 8, 6, 4. So these have to be 9, 8, 6, 4. Which means, I've broken the puzzle. Oh dear. Oh no. The reason, because if this has to contain a 4 and a 6, and this has to contain a 4 and a 6, that's both the 4 and the 6 used up in these columns. So these two squares can't have a 4 and 6 in, and they both have to equal 5. That doesn't work at all. I thought that. Oh no! Oh no! I can. Oh, 9, 9, 7, 6, 5 also equals 27, doesn't it? 9, 7. Yes, it does. Oh, thank goodness. So, okay. Well, that's. Thank goodness for that. So we've ruled out 3 from these boxes, but there were 2 ways left of making 27. I managed to miss out the one that was 9, 7, 6 and 5. So what? So we're going to have to put in more options for these. So the other option is 9, 7. So these all become very, very open-ended then. But at least the puzzle is not broken. This is definitely good. This is definitely good. Now, can we get any sort of handle on? So the 2 options are 9, 8, 6, 4, 9, 7, 6. So they both have 6 in them. So both of these sort of 2x2s contain a 6 as well as a 9. And that is gorgeous because now there's no 6. There's no 6 in this 2x2. So we can remove 6 and we get a 4, 5 pair. And that means if we know this box adds to, or this purples add up to 24, and this is a 4, 5 pair, this must add up to 15, which means they are 7 and 8. Which means this is a little bit restricted now. It can't be 1, 8 or 2, 7. And it can't be 4, 5 because of this 4, 5. Because we know there's a 5 in the 11 cage, and if this is a 4, 5, we can't put 5 in the bottom of it. 5 must go in the top of it, so this can't be 4, 5 and has to be 3, 6. This puzzle is beautiful. Now 3 can't live in the top of the 11 cage, so 3 must live in the bottom of it. Three can be removed from both of those positions, so this becomes a 1-2 pair, so this becomes a 3. This square can't be a 3. No, this square can't be a 1. There's a 1 in the 8 cage, so this square's a 2. And we are suddenly cooking with gas. 1, 2, so we can remove 6 from here. The 4, 5 now must be in this domino in the central 3x3. 4, 5. Now what? 3s. Ah, look at that. Yeah, look at this. Look at this little 13 cage here. Now, I don't think it can contain a 3, and it can't contain a 5. So if we take the other 4 lowest digits, they are the digits 1, 2, 4, and 6, which add up to, yep, you've guessed it, 13. So we can't have 4 at the bottom, and we can't have 6 at the top. So 4 must live in one of those squares, 6 must live in one of these squares. Okay, so have we, what have we done now? Have we broken the back of this or not? I feel like that was really useful. It's very much ground to a halt. Ah, no, maybe it hasn't actually. Maybe it hasn't. If there is a 6 in one of these 2 cells, there is not a 6 in one of those 2 cells. But we know that this 27 cage contains a 6, so the 6 is over this side. Now that means there's no 6 up here in this 27 cage, which also must have a 6 in it. And this one, actually, this 27 cage can't contain a 3, look. So this one also has a 6 in it, and the 6 is not here anymore, so the 6 is in one of those 2 squares. Now, does that matter? Does that matter over here? Does this one have to have a 6 in it? Ah, not quite. We can rule 3 out of that domino, but that this, we don't know what that is yet, so there could still be a 3 in the bottom of this 27 cage. So we can't quite rule that out. Oh, 2 here. That fixes our 8 cage, look. This can't be 1, 2, and 5 anymore. So this must be 1, 3, and 4. There's no 4 in the right-hand side of the 27 cage. Nines, maybe. Oh, this is gorgeous again. Look at the 9s. Now we know every 27 cage contains a 9. So I can do some limiting here, because that means the 9 in this one, by Sudoku, has to be on the left-hand side, so it's not on the right-hand side. Now if it's on the left-hand side here, it can't be on the left-hand side down there. So it must be on this side. And we also know that the 9s here are locking a 9 into one of these 2 cells, so there can't be another 9 at the top of the 27 cage. And bingo! Bingo! You might say bingo sometimes. I'm saying it today because now I think I've locked a 6-9 pair into here. This is staggering setting. This is staggering because this 6-9 pair comes from the fact that you have to work out that the 27 cage contains a 9 every 27 cage, and the geometry of the puzzle leads you to be able to put the 9s in the bottom of this, and then you have to get this 6 domino here and trail that round where 6s can go, and that allows you to lock a 6 in here, because none of these 27 cages can have a 3 in because of the geometry on the 3s. That is absolutely gorgeous. Good grief. Now, does this matter though? If this is 6, 9, please matter. That means there's no 9 there. These add to 15, these add to 12. Ah, yes, it does matter, because if these add to 12 and they can't use 3, 9 or 4, 8, these are 5, 7. Sorry, I meant to do that pencil mark. 5, 7. So there's no 5, 7 there. So this is 6, 8. Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, okay. If this is 6, 8, that's 14. These add to 13, have to include a 9, so they are 4 and 9. Which means we're going to get all sorts of things done now. 4's here, so this square's a 4 now. This is a 5. Oh, what on earth happened there? I don't know, but that's a 5. This is a 7. This is an 8. This gets us into the 9 cage. The 1 gets us the 1 and the 3. This one removes a 1 from the 13 cage. So the 2, 4 here is offset by 1, 6 below it, which means that's a 2, 3 pair. It means this is a 1, 5 pair. 4 can be removed from down here, look, and 8, and 5. So this is 6, 7, that adds to 13. That means these two need to add up to 14 without using 6 and 8. So we can see that's 5 and 9. We're going to be able to work out the value of this square now. Oh, there's loads go. It's all falling now. Look, 7, 8 here. Sorry, 6, 7 there means this square's an 8. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if there's any other easy wins. There is an easy win. Look, those two squares, they've got to be 5 and 8 by Sudoku. And that means that square's a 4 and that square's a 5. And we've got all sorts of things going on now with our blue squares. We know the blue squares add to 29, and we've only got 13. So these have got to add up. These have got to add up to 16. We can't put 9 at the bottom here. In fact, that's a 9 at the top, just because, look, we've filled in every digit here. So that must be a 7. So this 13 cage must be 2, 8, and 3, I think. The 7 fixes the 7 and the 6. The 9 fixes the 9 and the 4. My goodness me. This is real skill, setting a puzzle like this. This 9 fixes the 9 and the 6 over on this side. The 6 and the 1 get fixed. This 7 fixes the 7 and the 5. That fixes the 5 and the 8. Okay, and we reach something like this position. There may be more eliminations I could do if I was diligent, but you know me. Okay, so where do we go now? That square's a 7 by Sudoku. These 3 squares are 3, 4 and 8 by Sudoku. Let's see where that takes us. So 3, 4 and 8. Oh, okay, so this square must be a 3 or a 4, because if we make this a 3, 4 pair, those two cells would have to sum up to 20, and that won't work. So that must be a 3 or a 4 here. There's definitely an 8 in here. Oh, this is gorgeous. Yeah, this 7 is important now, because we know there's an 8 in the 27 cage. We know there's a 9 in it. Those add up to 17. So the other two cells add up to 10. And we know that one of them is a 3 or a 4. So the other is a 7 or a 6. And it can't be a 7. So there must be a 6 in this domino. To go with the 9. And that means we don't want a 3 in there. The 3 goes here. Those squares have got to be 2, 7... and something, 2, 6 and 7. So there's no 7 there. These 3 squares are 1, 4 and 8 by Sudoku, and there's a 4 here, so the 4 must live here. The 8 must go here because of this 8. That must be a 1. There's definitely a 1 in the 14 cage now by Sudoku. There's a 5 in this domino. Sorry, let me just stare at this again. One thing we could do, we could try here, is we could get the value of those 3 cells. Look, if we look at boxes 1 and 2, we actually know a great deal about the totals now. The only cells we don't know about are those ones. So we've got 15 here, plus 14 is 29. So that's 51. 51 and 12 is 63. 63, 71, 80. So these cells here have to add up to 10 in order to get us to 90. And we know one of them is a 5. So the other 2 have to add up to... yeah, look. The other 2 have to add up to 5. And in this box, 1, 3 and 4 are not available. So this must be a 2-5 pair. And this square must be a 3. And that gives us a 3 and a 2 there. This 3 gives us this 3. That gives us a 4 and a 1. That gives us a 4 and a 2 and a 2. And we're nearly there. Still not quite there. These 2 squares, let's get those. They've got to be 6 and 7, I think. Which gives us the 6 and the 3 below that. If I haven't made a mistake, these are 1 and 2. These are 3 and 4. The 1 and 2 get disambiguated. These 2 squares have got to add up to 11 without using 2, 9, 3, 8 or 4, 7. These are 5 and 6, therefore 6 here tells us the order. Gives us the 5 and the 9. This 6 gives us a 2. These 2 squares have got to have a 1 in. I can see that. I haven't worked out the other digit yet. It's 8. That's got to go there. 8, 6, 7 plus 1 is 22. So that's all looking good. This 8 gives us the 8 and the 6. The 6 and the 7. These squares here have got to be 2, 5 and 7 to make 14, I think. That's not 2. That's not 7. So how are we going to disambiguate these pairs? Is it this square? This is such skillful setting. It really is. I think it is this square. I've probably missed an elimination here. But I think this square is actually going to disambiguate all of these pairs up the left-hand side and the bottom of the puzzle. So let's see. We've got 18 here, 29. 29 and 5 is 34, 41. This has got to be a 4 to get us up to 45. And now this 4 is, look at this 4. 4, 3, 3, 8 straight away. And let's look up here. We get the 4, 8. And now where does 8 go in this box? It can only live in this square. These 2 have to be 1 and 9, and the 1 here tells us the order. The 1s are now using... it's just brilliant. It is just brilliant. 5 here, 2 here. The 9 gives us the 9 and the 6 and the 7, and that, I think, is how to solve it. Yes. I have to say that is a really, really brilliant piece of setting, and I have to... I loved the solve of that. It was so interesting. So Qiu Yan Zhe, that is a hell of a debut on Cracking the Cryptic. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And yeah, Mark will be back later. I think Mark's got a really difficult puzzle tonight. So if you're into your brain scratchers, check that one out too. And thanks for watching.